Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Passion Project, a weekly podcast brought to you by the WHS Tech Crew. I am not one of your hosts. I'm the speaker, Anna Fedorov. But our hosts today are Guru and Derek.
Hello. Hi.
This is a weekly podcast where we bring in a guest, like me, so that they can talk about a particular topic that they're very, very passionate about. It can be literally anything. Communism, oil paintings of Chris Pratt, finger painting, cars, really anything.
And that, everyone, was a dramatic reading of the Passion Project intro done by Anna Fedorov.
Thank you.
A+ job, Anna.
Yes.
You are a wonderful hostess, even though you pointed at me when you said guru.
I'm sorry about that. I don't take drama for nothing, though.
Yeah. So if you can't already tell, Anna is here to talk to us about acting.
Unfortunately. Woo. Oh, sorry. Did I say that out loud?
Gosh, Derek, don't disrespect our guests. Actually, today is a special drama day because it was Shakespeare Day at WHS, where all the kids who take Miss Sessions' drama class were performing skits the whole day. What skits did you perform the whole day?
So there was one skit that I was supposed to be in. If you're familiar with the YouTube video, the Harry Potter Puppet Pals, it's a very catchy tune and it's very funny. It's the Harry Potter Puppet Pals. Basically, they find a pipe bomb. It's a really, really funny. It's a really funny skit, but we didn't get to do it because one of our actors had to bail out at the last second. We were very sad, but I had a backup plan and I performed a monologue called Mrs. Claus Dumps Santa Claus, which is a letter from Mrs. Claus to her husband saying that she's leaving him for the Easter Bunny. It's very funny, very dramatic. I insult him, call him fat. So yeah, that's what I did today for the entire day, actually.
Nice. I was in a few different skits. I was in The Key and Peele Substitute Teacher.
That one was hilarious.
Thank you. I was in SNL's Girlfriend Talk Show. Played Kira. And then I was in the other SNL skit, the La La Land interrogation, where we interrogate them for not liking the movie La La Land. And then,
that one was also very, very funny.
Thank you very much. You were also fantastic during your monologue.
Why, thank you, Guru.
Of course. When you,
Derek,
did you visit? Did you get to come to...
I visited and I saw many amazing skits, including one that featured a past guest, Jared Panadosi, that was
Yes.
quite unexpected.
I know. So Jared did
In a good way.
it was like some season finale from Walking Dead where he played the character Negan, who's like a villain on the show, and it was very, very intense.
He gelled his hair, dressed up in a leather jacket. It was something, folks.
Yes, he
I
had a
don't think
bat.
I've ever seen him dressed that way, and I don't think I'll ever see him dressed that way.
Yes.
It was not just a regular baseball bat. It was a baseball bat with spikes on it, like spiked wire. It was very intense.
Yes. And then even like if you were there, like as Miss Session was like explaining it, Justin Blundell, who was like a part of the scene, like he was like interrupting her and like just dragging people up, and it was like the whole thing. It's very, very good. But yeah, so just
This is about you, Anna.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell us how you realized your innate ability for acting?
Well, I've actually done drama since I was little, like,
In the womb.
yes.
Did you put on skits as a fetus?
But your
Yes, I
mom
kept my
felt
mother
that a lot.
entertained. I was not kicking in the womb. I was practicing my dramatic hands. That's what she felt. Since about 4th grade, I went to this after-school program for 4 years, and we did a lot of things there. We sang, we acted, we did dance, and we would put on a few shows a year, and we would always do some kind of skits. Some of them would be in English, most of them would be in Russian. So I did that for a very, very long time, and then I moved to Winchester, so obviously that drama part stopped. And I didn't really know as a middle schooler that we put on plays and musicals until I got to the high school, which was really unfortunate for me. And then when I also got to the high school, I just never really caught wind of the whole like drama department. I knew that they put on shows, but I never had been to one, and I got into drama at the high school my junior year when I auditioned for the fall play, which if you didn't see it, it was Sweet Surrender. And we did that in 2015. It was just to a quick rundown. It's about, it takes place in one scene, a hotel suite, and it was double booked by two rival divas, and everybody basically figures out that each diva is staying in the hotel room, and everybody is doing their best to keep them from meeting, or else hell will break loose. And eventually, of course, they do meet, and it ends up that they're friends, and that this
Way
whole...
to spoil it.
Wow.
Dang, Anna.
I'm sorry,
I
but
really believed in you.
I mean, it's a very old
Everyone's
show.
obviously seen it. They went to the show and they had a
Obs.
DVD. They've
If
all
you-
seen it.
If you do not have a DVD, I strongly urge you to buy one from Tech Crew. It's only $10.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then after that, I didn't get to do my spring musical because I did a sport, but I was...
Wait, also, what character did you play in Street
Oh,
Fighter?
I was the assistant to one of the divas, who was Devin Bean, so I was her assistant Murphy, and my character actually had a love interest with one of the bellhops, who she broke up with because she thought he was going to the war, but he ended up not, and the show, there was the whole background story of them kind of rekindling their love while she was extremely angry at him.
Nice. Okay, and now, spring musical.
Spring musical was Damn Yankees, and I did a sport. I couldn't participate, but I was assistant stage manager for that. So I got to sit in on the rehearsals and kind of learn all the songs, learn all the scenes, help out backstage. It gave kind of a new perspective to the whole acting thing, because when you're an actor, you don't really think about everything that the tech crew does, that the director does, that all of the scene changes that happen. You're aware of them, but you're not really focused on them. And then when you work behind stage, you're a lot more sensitive to the fact that, okay, I have to make sure that tech gets this cue because that's my cue, or that this actor knows where this is because they need this for this next scene, or else there's just a lot of planning going on. And then I continued it in my senior year. I took Miss Hessian's drama class. That is a very...
It's awesome. That's
It's
what it is.
awesome. It's an interesting class. For the first half of the year, we focus only on Shakespeare. And then the next half of the year, we are supposed to not focus only on Shakespeare, but for the majority of the point, majority, we still do. We do his 150 sonnets, and we read through all of them, and then we learn one, perform
Read the
it.
right one.
Write one for Valentine's Day.
Yes. I
And-
just say she gave me back my sonnet, and then on the sonnet itself, she was like, ironic, I didn't expect that couplet. And then when I talked to her in person, she was like, this was really creepy. I was like, thanks.
Thank you, Miss Hessian. She liked my sonnet. She said it was it really captivated the love and then the hate at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, mine was like that too.
And then we started doing some more modern pieces like Waiting for Godot, Guildenstern, and Rosencrantz. I always say Rosencraft, but that's wrong. It's Rosencrantz. We perform those in front of the class, and when I say perform, it means we learn a few pages or we learn a monologue from something, and we perform it just in front of our class for a grade. And then the last week or two, last week of April, first week of May, we actually get ready for Shakespeare Day, which, as Guru said earlier, was today. So we find our own little skits that we want to do, either with a few people or a monologue or a dialogue, something like that we want to show off.
And it's often something like comedic, usually SNL, something like that. And you know the I Can't Even skit, like the one where they're all like,
Did someone do it this year again?
yes, that
Oh,
I'm
it
gonna
just
get
wasn't
to
my
that.
block. I was so
Yeah,
grateful
there's
for
like
that.
they're like I can't even, it's like those three like they're just super
Oh.
sassy, and then like they're yelling at the other girl with, like her two broken arms.
I wasn't there for that.
Well, they do it every year. I'm sure whoever's listening, you know it, like you've like seen it before. I'm sure, and it's just like, why did they do the same thing every year? 'Cause I wish there was like some not like
That Miss Hessian should impose a rule that says no.
no.
I
There
can't
wasn't
do this.
anything like that, but it's just the thing of just like they obviously know that it was done like in the past like 3 or 4 years. So I was hoping for some more like variation. I mean, of course, I was in their group. I can't like force anything on them, but that's my personal opinion. They were still funny.
We had a lot of Monty Python skits too.
Yes, that's true. And then like just a few like dramatic ones. Like
Mm-hmm.
I even tried to do a dramatic one because I did the Alec Baldwin speech from Glengarry Glen Ross, but I only got to do it one block. But I think another kid was doing the same speech later. But yeah,
And it's maybe.
didn't James Doherty do it?
Oh no, he didn't get to go up. I don't think.
Oh, that sucks. But yes.
Yeah, Yeah.
So Shakespeare Day, and now we are here.
Yeah, Shakespeare Day. Oh yeah, I did the play for the high school this year as well, which was The Murder Mystery at the Murder Mystery, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a play within a play. There's a murder mystery in the play, and then a murder actually happens as they're rehearsing, because it's the last dress rehearsal, and so they're trying to figure out who did it, and it's a lot of weird conspiracies going on. It's a very interesting play as well. And this year I was stage manager for the musical that we did, which was Shrek.
Eric was stage manager on that too.
Yes. Oh, co-stage manager right here. It was very fun, very stressful.
Very stressful.
Except that Saturday morning show, which I have not heard everything about because I was not present for that.
You don't need to know everything about that show.
Yeah.
We had a tree fall over.
Oh my god.
We what?
A tree fell, like a fake tree fell over.
So many other things happened. There were like missed cues. There was someone, we fixed a scene, and then some actors who thought it was wrong just wheeled something out that was wrong, but that's okay.
And then like
no one has to know. There was no one there, so
musical rehearsals are like they're always so long.
They were extremely
and
long.
ineffective.
Yes, and ineffective. Often very stressful.
Multiple nights until 10 or 11.
Multiple nights till 10 or 11. And like when it goes to 10 or 11, we start right after school. So that's like already 7.5 hours, maybe longer.
Many crying breaks to get the stress out.
Yeah, not enough food breaks. I've said.
No, so many promised pizzas.
I know.
So few actual pizzas.
Except that one day where they ordered.
Here's the thing. That one day where they actually order pizza, but I had already bought food because I thought they weren't going to. Wasted money.
Oh, I did that too. I still had the pizza. But yeah, about acting.
Yes.
Acting is a form of public speaking, but I think it's a lot easier, in my opinion, because when you are giving a speech in front of a class, in front of just some kind of audience, those are, more often than not, your words that you've written or somebody has written for you that you have to present as yourself. And that's really scary because you are put under the microscope. You are being judged. You are being listened to. It's all about you. Whereas when you're acting, you are playing somebody. So the audience, for the most part, if you just know how to basically act, it's not you who's being put under the microscope. It's your character. So if you're being weird and quirky, it's your character that's being weird and quirky. You just take it on. So the audience thinks, oh, character is weird and quirky. It doesn't associate to you. It's kind of like a shield. And it's, for a lot of people, it's a lot easier to act as somebody different. Like we do it socially all the time. We act a certain way for people to like us. We put on a certain facade to seem a certain way because it's easier than just being yourself. But acting has also really helped me in my own public speaking because it's not a science. Nothing is perfect. So you'll be going through a scene and you realize that you don't remember your line. Or you'll be halfway through a line and you're like, shit, I don't know what comes next. And it's that little moment of panic and you're like, what do I do? What do I say next? And if you, for the most part, know your scene, you know how it's supposed to flow, you do what every actor does. You improv. And at that point, the audience doesn't know it, but you do. You are your character, but these are your words now. This is what you're making up to make the scene flow. If you mess up your improv, it can make or break the scene. Sometimes when you mess up improv, it's funny. Most of the time it's not. But if you do it poorly, somebody can tell. So that really helped me when I would sometimes forget a line and I would improv because I could make it up on the spot. It made my speeches easier. And something I took away from that was when you're debating, because I do debate as well, that's public speaking, and just giving a presentation, if you think that you want to act as the person being the presenter, that didn't make sense. If you act as the presenter, it makes it a lot easier. Because even though it's your words and what you're putting up, if you just mentally think that I just have to act as a good public speaker, as somebody who's presenting, it makes the whole process a lot easier and it makes it a lot more natural and a lot more fluid.
And then do you have like a specific process for how you like get into a character or like start to like memorize lines and stuff?
Well, a lot of the characters that I get fit my personality. So a lot of them are really sassy. So this year I had a really sassy character. And so it was easy and hard at the same time because it was hard to differentiate myself from the character. So it was hard to get into a character that you are already so similar to. But it also made it a bit easier with the whole sass and the whole snippy comments type of thing. Last year I had to be a very more so kind of innocent, down-to-earth assistant who just does what she's told. It was set in like the 1940s as well. So when you have some background to a character, it's easier. And so my process is when I have a character who particularly doesn't have a lot of background, I make it up. I make up a story that this person did this in their life. This is what they come from. This is why she's so snippy. And I try and make it as far away from my own life as possible. So, like, if, I don't know, I'm not valedictorian of my class. She was valedictorian of her class. It makes it an easier process.
And do you, like, at least with the directors that you've worked with, do they encourage it, or do you approach them about it, of, how to do it and stuff, or?
My directors, especially this year, told me to think of a background, because a lot of us were having a hard time getting into character because they picked us so perfectly for the parts that we were basically the part that we were playing.
Okay.
So we had to so they encouraged to pick a background. And you can't really come up to them and have them make it up for you because that takes away from the whole becoming your character process. It's a very individual experience. It's kind of like meditating.
Wait.
It's like you have to sit and you have to think about like your character and you have to get into it. Much like when you meditate, you have to sit, you have to clear your head, you have to think about yourself, become in touch with yourself. When you think about the character, you're getting in touch with your character.
Do you ever go method? / have you ever wanted to go method?
I find method very scary, actually, because if somebody is a method actor, you don't actually know when they're being serious. Because if something's wrong, this is what goes through my head. If something's wrong, you don't know if you should be taking them seriously. And you don't know when they break out of character, unless they're playing somebody from like 60s, 90s. Then it's easier because they start talking like a normal everyday person. But if you're a method actor who's a cop in New York City and they just start acting normally, it's a tough line.
What? No, I was just gonna. Well, still, have you ever considered it?
Have I considered method acting? Not really, no.
Wait, do you know who has like actually done it at WHS?
No, I don't think anybody has.
I wish someone would. The most I've seen is like Owen Kramer, like just grooming that little goatee of his.
That for the devil part.
Yeah. No, I'm kidding. What was I gonna say? I think a lot of it too is the level of intensity. Like even with actual, like, A-list actors, method acting is not like that common.
Yeah.
And when it comes to a high school play, like people still put a lot of like heart into it, and it's still amazing. But you don't need to do like. There isn't as much of a drive to do method acting for an aging former baseball player.
See,
or something.
you'd think that, but then it's WHS where everyone's just super try-hard and insane. So you never know.
That's true.
You never know. Do you envision like going to, acting like in like college or like the future?
Well, I'm not going to major in acting or anything if that's what you're asking, but I definitely know I still want to continue theater in college and just further in my adult life. It's something that I want to do for fun because I like it and it fulfills me. And I feel like if I had to do that as a job, it might not be as fulfilling anymore because I have to go to work and do this. And there are days where I would want a break from like learning a huge monologue or something like that, or to stop pretending. And this way I have the option to be somebody else instead of the obligation.
What would you say was your best moment on stage and your worst moment on stage?
My best moment on stage was definitely last year during Sweet Surrender, when I had to... It was a very short monologue, but basically I walked in on my boss hitting on the love of my life, which was Devin Bean, who was my boss, who was the diva, and Ben McGee, who was supposed to be my love interest, and he was a bellhop. So I walk in on my boss kind of on top of him, and I'm taken aback. And then she leaves, if I remember correctly, and then... Or no, she's still staying there, and we're talking about something. This was so long ago, I can't remember the words exactly. But at one point, I start talking about love and passion, and my exact lines was, you just get this burning tug of, and I have to cut myself off, because we're talking about, like, passion and passionate love, and obviously my love interest is in the room. And it was just a really funny part, because I get very embarrassed as my character, because my character is very reserved, she's very proper, she doesn't lash out. So it was a very funny moment for me. And my worst moment was, I mean, aside from some cringy improv here and there, as we all had, I think it must have been this year. This year during the fall play again, our very last show. The couch that we were using, that we also used last year, was on its last legs. Literally on its last legs. We had part of the couch on books. Because somebody, I won't name who, jumped onto the couch and the legs broke. And so at one point, somebody somehow sat down and the couch broke. And Tata Vivas and I, you guys don't know her, she was my co-star, for the show this year, were very taken aback. We kept our composure, but we had to somehow hold onto the couch and sit in such a way so that it didn't just fall backwards with us. And it was very obvious that the couch is currently broken, and we are very close to a very big mess.
Wow. I also remember, I think
it's
it was that
consolation. I didn't notice that, and I was at that show.
Oh.
Thank you.
I don't notice anything, just all the way in the back, their tech. That was also the same show. I remember when that freshman on your cast, like, I think he forgot on the line.
Oh yeah, that was one of our newbies. He was very good. He grew a lot from the very first rehearsal to our very last show. He forgot a line, and usually when one of us forgets a line, we again have that moment of panic, but we keep going. Somebody says it for us. We improv, and our directors prepped us as much as they could. Like, they did a great job. He just forgot a line, or he forgot a prop, and it really, really stressed him out, and he got really upset. And that happened, but it was a bump.
Yeah.
But we grazed through it. We got over it, continued the show. It was nothing super major.
One thing, do you like doing improv, or like do you like having like everything just line?
I like a little bit of improv in my lines. Like, I love to memorize my lines word for word, but then when I start speaking my lines, it's easier to just kind of improv them, say them in a different way, a way that I feel more natural. But I don't love just straight up improv. I'm not particularly good at it, is why.
Okay.
And then Guru said, no, I'm kidding. What is
I was purposely silent. I just wanted to screw with Derek.
What is a form of, I mean, how do I put it? If someone ever offered to you to, is a one-time thing, no necessary commitment to it as a career, but if someone ever offered you in your adult life a small role in, like, a big movie, would you be interested in that?
I would so take it.
Would you wait? To go off that, like, would you go for like film acting, or would you want to like be in like play, like Broadway or something like that? Like, what interests you more?
I love Broadway. I love watching Broadway shows. I would love to be. I recently saw Chicago. I would love to be Velma. It's I don't know. I saw her on stage, and I was just like, this is who I want to be on stage. So I don't know how. I guess I would have to be a lot more comfortable with singing in front of everybody and singing loud and always hitting the right notes and making sure you don't have a voice crack. That takes a lot of time. But I would love to do plays and musicals, and I would do film acting, because film acting, I don't want to say it's fake acting. It's not as raw. Yeah. Because film acting, you mess up, take it again. Your director is like, this is how I want it, and we are going to redo this shot until it is perfect, until you look perfect, until you sound perfect, until your lines are perfect. Whereas Broadway and just plays and shows in general that aren't on television, they're very raw. A mistake is going to happen at every single show. There is not a show where something doesn't happen, big or small. Yeah. Front, upstage, backstage, text, lights. Yeah. Something's going to go wrong.
I totally agree, and like I think that I particularly got that perspective from like having like I've done tech crew all 4 years, but like you're always like in the back, right? So you don't actually like get like the actor's perspective, but like having taken musicians drama class and like trying to like memorize monologues or dialogues, I like just have like a such like much greater appreciation for like what like stage actors do, because I like you're saying like when movies and stuff, it's like you can just do like as many takes as you need, or like just like or even like do it on like a different day if like you just can't get it on that that particular time. But like with stage acting, it's like you have to like memorize so much and then like get your cues right, and then it's all, I mean, so to speak, just one take.
And then if you screw up, you can't do the laughing, okay, let's do it again. Like, that's one of the biggest things, is that you can't acknowledge that you screwed up. You have to act like it was supposed to be that way.
It's raw.
And you're in control.
Yeah. And you cannot ever break your character, not even for a second. So if you are getting scared, get scared in character. But you cannot break the scene, you cannot break your character. So you have to be really good at keeping your composure.
Yeah, I could never do... Well, one, I would want to like act in anything, but if I had to choose, I would never do like stage acting. I just couldn't do that.
This is why you do Film Guru.
Yes, always, but like behind the scenes.
For those of you who didn't know, Guru was president of Tech Crew this year, and he is wonderful. He did all of our shows this year. He did lights and sound. Wasn't really on headset though during the musical. Well, I will say.
I hate being on headset.
Well.
But thank you very much.
Yes, go Guru.
Yes, and go you two, fantastic stage managers.
Thanks.
Derek was mediocre at best.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
What's your best and worst moment as stage manager? Because I know like being stage crew, because like, okay, I'll just be frank with you guys. Tech crew, obviously not like the most like prestigious sort of like club and everything, but then like when the musical comes around, the only like group that's like a little less than tech crew is stage crew.
Except this year I really brought it to life by making announcements and held a meeting, and I made it super organized. I'm like our director.
One of my biggest pet peeves was just honestly people like not showing up. Like
people not showing up and not telling us was terrible. My worst moment. Okay. I wasn't there for the Saturday show, so I can't speak for Derek. And considering from what I've just been hearing now, that sounds like a mess of a show. And I guess that Saturday morning show...
But it was, honestly, not to say, like, oh, it's not Stage Crew's fault, it's everyone else's fault. Like, every party involved, it was going wrong for everyone. Like, it was just a mess.
Even if the actors mess up your scene, we always get the heat. I guess my worst thing would be last year, I was on curtain. And we were putting on a dress rehearsal, but we were doing it for the teachers. And stage crew, I just couldn't, because I had to do curtain, they forgot to do the benches. So our stage manager had to come out mid-scene and take out the benches, like as people were walking off, because we needed that. That was key to that scene. You couldn't work your way around it. So I guess that was not a stage manager. That was just a stage crew member type of... I know it wasn't directly my fault, but we were all at fault, and it was really stressful. I guess also one of my worst parts was one night during dress rehearsal when one of the actors just kept missing a line just because they didn't... no shame on them. And his line cued the orchestra, cued the lights, cued stage crew. It was the very opening scene for him, and he was just missing a line that wasn't super important, but he wasn't saying anything.
Is this year?
Yeah, this year.
Yeah, I know.
And so I came out, and I came out on stage, and I called to my director and I let her know. And in response to that, she didn't even try to brush me off, or they didn't even try to brush me off, but they said, there's only one director here, and that director is me. And that was very, I don't want to say hurtful, it was just unnecessary for me, and I know that they're stressed, and I know that they have a lot to do, but
if someone brings a legitimate concern about a very important line that cues everything, then you have to at least look at that and go, okay, or say, well, if I don't want to do that because I'm the director and I'm in control, let me pick another line to cue everything. I don't know.
I mean, I was really good with my director. She liked me. I liked her. But it was a lot of cleaning up after, trying to figure things out, it was just that.
Since we're on the topic of best and worst moments, I'll just share my best and worst moments. You can go to Derek. So I'll just go all 4 years of high school. Best moment.
Just of life?
Of just tech crew.
Okay,
tech crew. Or just in the sort of theater department in general. Best moment was probably I think the very first opening night of Shrek. Or either probably some Damn Yankees, just because of everything just went so well. Just for and also just I guess this year just being president and everything, it was really
opening night of Shrek was honestly
one of the best
shows. Opening night.
Yeah,
of
and then worst moment. So this is a story. Worst moment was freshman year. Everything's bad freshman year, right? And then basically I was assistant director for
was
the
fall. Was this the year that Clay Gilmore was playing?
Yes. Freshman year fall play, Harvey. I was on tech crew and actually sort of the part of the play itself. I was assistant director, which basically just meant helping actors with lines and stuff. Actually, the director is one of the humanities strips, so I got to direct for 2 or 3 rehearsals. That was really great. And then the thing is, the directors of that show though were very sort of just one, very disorganized. 2, didn't do that much of just talking with the actors and getting scenes down, and kind of wasted a lot of time. And unfortunately, there was this day where some people from college were visiting, and then everyone else had gone, and I was just sort of alone and talking with them. And then I just sort of started, shitting on the directors of the show, and then I got kicked out. And then when I go to talk to the directors about it, they were saying oh, we found out you said this, this, and this, and it was how? And then it turned out one of the people I was talking to was a boyfriend of the director. So, yeah, that happened.
Who was the director that year?
I don't think Guru is at liberty to say.
I actually, honestly, I forget their names. No, but I remember their names, but I'm not gonna say it because it's just more embarrassing for me.
Was it a director who?
They were seniors. It was a fall play, but
wait. So you were?
I was an assistant director for the fall play of Harvey, and I shit on the director. I was shit on the directors.
The tech director.
No. The actual play directors.
Oh, God.
I was assistant director to them. I was okay, I'll be assistant director for you guys, and then during the week of the show, I'll jump back to tech crew. And then I shit on them to one of their boyfriends. And then, I got kicked out. But the thing is, I did this a week before the actual show. So they kicked me out, but then I was going to go back work with tech crew at the time anyway. So it wasn't a huge loss. And I did learn a good amount about sort of play.
Still, I will say one of the biggest frustrations can be with directors because there are good and bad directors. And honestly, I feel most of it doesn't even have to do with vision, so to speak, but has to do with there are some directors who think that it's totally normal if you're the director to be I want the lights this way and the music this way, but they need to understand the limits of each group and they need to talk with them. My biggest issues have been with disorganized directors who have very unrealistic expectations, not just oh, I know it's going to be hard, but try this, but things that are virtually impossible, and directors who will say oh yes, we will do this thing, and then we'll change their mind last minute and things like that. I feel if you're going to be director of something, you need to take responsibility for, you are trying to keep everything together. Yes. And you have to understand the limits of what you want to do.
Yes.
Definitely.
Absolutely. I just want to say thank God my worst moment was in freshman year, because everyone's worst year, I feel at least
I feel like every year was my worst year.
Nah, senior year's been okay.
Sophomore was my worst year.
Yeah, that was pretty bad too.
Okay.
But,
Anna, do you have any
last
closing statements?
Potatoes are really good.
They are delicious.
Nice. If there are any casting directors out there, please pick Anna because she is extremely talented and awesome.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for being on this episode of The Passion Project.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And we will see you guys next week. And be sure to catch up on all our other episodes, which are on YouTube. Subscribe. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.